These ghosts will set fire to everything in Antonio Bay while we watch a bunch of slow-mo replays as they set fire to everything in Antonio Bay. And by the end, we're questioning what the fuck is wrong with Maggie Grace. I'm John Renton with the retro review of The Fog from 2005. God damn it, this fucking movie was so bad. Ow! That was really goddamn bad. But yes, a remake of the 1980 classic from John Carpenter that I just retro reviewed. Please check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, they took everything. From setting fire to the rain. Actually, you can't set fire to the rain or the fog because that's not how physics work, and we don't understand what's gonna occur if we try to set fire to the fog. Okay, I'll stop that. But yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, Janet Leigh. Well, they couldn't have had Janet Leigh in this because she died the year before, and it would have been really goddamn awkward. But everything that made the 1980 movie fun. I mean, the 80s hair, they couldn't really bring back. I mean, they could have tried. It wouldn't really fucking work. But they basically tried to Ghost Ship and 13 Ghosts and House on Haunted Hill this shit, which is unfair to House on Haunted Hill for 1999. It was actually quite a bit of fun. It wasn't great. It had a lot of hot women, and it had a lot of bite to it. And it also had Ali Larter, who has not aged a bit since 1999. So, moving hastily on from the 90s, let's talk about a movie that basically could have been from the mid-90s with the bad special effects, and it had Tom Welling from Smallville. Somebody save me. Let your warm hands break right through the douche of the fog. Wait, that's not how the song goes. This movie was ass. Absolutely 100% goddamn fucking ass. It did have Selma Blair in it. Selma Blair looks the exact same now as she did then. So, it was directed by Rupert Wainwright, who... That name sounds way too fucking snooty to be doing a remake of a 1980 classic from John Carpenter. He did Blank Check and Stigmata. Well, that explains a lot as to why this movie was shit, because I hated Stigmata. Also, written by Cooper Lane, who did the Coneheads movie and The Core. If you've seen either of those, especially The Core, I'm sorry. The Core Heads would have actually been better. Actually, I saw that in the movie once, where you burrow deep and you try to take as much in as you... Lost my train of thought. Always delete your search history. But yes, Tom Welling, fresh off of Smallville, even though I think he was still in Smallville at this point. Maggie Grace, who... Terrific actress and really deserved a whole lot better than this. Selma Blair, D. Ray Davis, Kenneth Welsh, and Adrian Ho. No, they were all in this along with a whole bunch of other people. And yeah, it's a reimagining / remake. It was basically trying to Psycho this fucking thing. And I'm talking 1998 Psycho. I'm not even talking Psycho 2 Electric Boogaloo, the unnecessary sequel that wasn't bad, but was deeply comedic. And then Psycho 3 and Psycho 4, everybody get on the floor and watch your mother do Norman Bates. Really, really gross. That's also not how the song goes. So, let's dive into the fact that instead of California, a small California coastal town, it's the lights of a North Oregon town. Na, we see a leper colony being fried as some guys, the founding fathers, steal the gold and float away. Hey, okay, enough song references. Let's talk about all the goddamn slow-mo. Motherfucking slow-mo. So much slow-mo. This movie was 10 minutes longer than the original, and I swear that was all because of the slow-mo. If they had cut out all the slow-mo stuff, and everything, and the dramatic stuff where people are drowning, and getting back, man, if I could move faster, I could get up. And also, if they didn't have really bad acting in this movie would have been about 5 minutes. Because everybody was either phoning in their roles, or they were overacting, and it was fucking ridiculous. So, citizens are trying to uncover the reason as to why all this is happening. Also, instead of being rated R like the 1980 version, this is rated PG-13. It is a very rare occurrence when a PG-13 horror movie can be any good. People say Insidious was a good PG-13 horror movie. Even people that are allowed out of their house without adult supervision. I kid. Insidious was fine, it just wasn't my favorite. The Darth Maul ghost was very entertaining. How the fuck Ray Park managed to get there, I have no idea. So, the opening credits, they show a ship crew, not the DK crew, not DK Donkey Kong, and a lot of slow-mo and subsequent escape, and they're not setting fire to the rain. They're not doing any of this stuff. Alright, so, then people were getting pulled into the goddamn water because they were either being pulled in by ghosts or they were being pulled in by Jaws the Revenge, because he was seeking revenge after Jaws the Revenge came out. I would seek revenge if I was in that movie too. I'm surprised Michael Caine, which if you you can't help but say Michael Caine, you can't help but say it the same way as Michael Caine. If I was in that movie, I would have been really pissed too, but he got to buy a house out of it. So, we cut to Antonio Bay, and it's current day, and Stevie's voice welcomes us. Selma Blair, my goodness, has a sexy voice. Like I said about Adrienne Barbeau, she had a really good voice for radio, and Selma Blair is great and just looks great and is fucking fabulous. And man, she's great from Cruel Intentions on. I know she was in something before Cruel Intentions, but I can't remember right now. What's your favorite Selma Blair movie? Let me know. So, we see a statue of the Founding Fathers. You know, these not the Founding Fathers of the country, but the Founding Fathers of Antonio Bay. Not Antonio Banderas. Boy, I missed an opportunity to make that, but I must. And I can't do the maraca thing. I can't do the, little canastas. Is that what the fuck they are? So anyway, well, the statues basically just highlighting the fact that these guys were murderers, and we find that out a little bit later. So, they took the fact that Nick Castle was played by Tom Atkins, and this is going to be a bit of a longer review than the other one, because you can't help but compare it to the other one. Nick Castle, played by Tom Atkins, had a tie to the goddamn town, but he also, it wasn't like a deep connection. Like, yeah, he had ties as far as friends, he lived there and everything. He would end up picking up Elizabeth as a hitchhiker, but there was enough, there was enough connection, but not like full on where it's like it was beating you over the skull. This is where like, oh, his uncle, has a shipping line, and he has a he is basically trying to carry on his uncle's work. There's Spooner, played by D. Ray Davis. Spooner aboard. Just join me for some Just Friends, Spooner. Okay, can't do his Zoidberg voice at all anymore. And he's a fisherman. Nick Fisherman, not Nick Offerman, basically. But he decided to go out and take these guys out to get some fish and everything. But naturally, what ends up happening is he talks to Spooner about his girlfriend Elizabeth, played by Maggie Grace. We find out a little bit later that she's been gone for a while. And he's talking to Spooner, talking to these guys he's taking out on the tour, and then suddenly their anchor gets caught on something. What the hell did it get caught on? Oh my god, it got caught on a bag that fell out during the slow-mo. The bag took pretty much all that time to fall down there. Man, that thing must have been falling for centuries. Remember me for centuries. Na 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 na. So, basically, they end up, eventually getting, away, and they rip this bag up, and it's got a hairbrush, it's got a little scale thing, and it's got, it's got something else, it's got a stopwatch, it's got a little pocket watch. Not a stopwatch, but a pocket watch. And I wrote down, my God, Selma Blair has an ungodly sexy voice, or just an unfathomable sexy voice is what I said. Party on the boat, party like a boat star, party like a boat, oh wait, Spooner's gonna die. And he, basically Elizabeth ends up getting picked up, and they do this stuff really badly where, Nick's picking up a hitchhiker or whatever. Oh, okay, great, wait. Elizabeth, I didn't recognize you. I didn't recognize you because basically I haven't seen you in 6 months because you took off to the other side of the country. For reasons that we never found out why she just took off. Why'd she take off? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares? She's back now, but she feels a strange connection. She's been having weird nightmares. Bad stuff's following her. Kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis said in The Fog 1980. Except with Jamie Lee Curtis, it was left a little bit obtuse. It didn't again hit you over the goddamn head. Ow. And I feel like I've seen this before is what she's saying because she listened to a stopwatch. Well, it wasn't ticking before. I feel like I've seen this before. Man, I have the weirdest sense of deja vu. I have the weirdest sense of Dijon mustard. And basically, Stevie, they did the Stevie Dan thing, not Steely Dan, because I don't think Steely Dan was playing music by this point. And everyone is dumber than usual. Everyone's stupid and bad, everything. It's a perfect fog bank storm, and suddenly Mark Wahlberg is caught in it. Very cheap and invasive fog. So cheap. The fog in the 1980 movie, that is, looked more realistic. This stuff is just bad computer graphics, and I'm not even going to blame the director here, Rupert Wainwright, who sounds like he should be doing poetry or doing literature. And look, as the fog suddenly took Elizabeth and everything, and it did this and yes, and I don't know why he would be talking like he was turning into a British/Romanian vampire. And Nick basically, he's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with his boat and stuff like that. And Father Malone is all drunk and everything, so nothing really changed from the first one, except he was not aware of his family history as much and had to be beaten over his skull what happened. And man, they get to this boat after Spooner had basically been killed and all that stuff, and it was fucking hilarious. Don't soak your gauges in nitroglycerin. And board Pirates of the Pacific Caribbean is what I wrote down. The fog comes in, and well, one night in not Bangkok makes a strong man crumble. And of course, the black guy dies fourth in the movie because the two girls, pretty hot girls by the way, hot even now. Take a look, at them seriously. One is 40 and looks 20. But, sometimes genetics are just a wonder. But in all seriousness, everybody dies on the boat. So the seagrass, because we had to find out it was the seagrass later, it's just floating there. And, well, it's Shmi. Is Captain Hook there? Oh, wait, no. It's Elizabeth coming back to see her mom. And she can't stay there. No, you can't stay here. You don't go here. And she goes to stay with Nick. And we get PG-13 shower sex. Man, let me tell you right now, I'd take that, as, over not having it at all. But man, be careful where you get that soap, because it can get into an orifice and it can burn for a while. And let's just move hastily on from that. Let's say Irish Spring sometimes cleans a little too deep. When they say a deep cleaning formula, they mean a deep cleaning formula. Now that I put that image in your head, and provided that anybody is still watching, let's talk about loud banging action, not in the shower. I keep having, these dreams. I keep seeing people burning. People in the sky, they keep on burning. Actually, in the sea, but they're just going to burn otherwise. But I keep seeing people burning. This is 2005. Was it Jim Rome? Jim Rome was burning. I used to like that show until I realized the guy was a nut. So that early 2000s internet technology and the goddamn monitors, that if you actually just barely tapped anybody in the head, you could probably break their skull. Those things were huge. Goddamn huge. Who has a monitor that big still? Does anybody have a computer monitor that big? Can you get a computer monitor that big? Why would you want to get a computer monitor that big? So, the research scene. And she finds out about the Dave. The Elizabeth. Oh no, Elizabeth. Wait, that's her name. That's my name. And that name is my name, too. And she finds out about there's more ghostly banging. We don't get the ghost banging between midnight and 1. They suddenly start doing it. Throwing all pretense, throwing all stuff out of the windows, throwing all the stuff that was established in the first one. Nope, ghosts are just going to bang. But they're going to bang in the stupidest way possible, where yes, I know they're ghosts and you're not supposed to see through them, but seriously, you couldn't have afforded to make these things look halfway decent? Was this movie hacked out, within 3 months? Reminds me of Black Christmas 2019. And now I'm going to eviscerate this movie even more for reminding me of Black Christmas 2019. So, she basically decides to traipse off and figure out why these noises are happening, why she's hearing her name being called. So she's in her underwear and puts a sweater on. That's great beach walking weather. I mean, I've seen plenty of girls walk around on the beach, in just their underwear and a sweater, and sometimes they're aware of it. So let's move on from that. Selma Blair, my goodness, my goodness, my fucking goodness. That's all I gotta say. She, of course, has a son, Andy. Oh, Andy! And he found the hairbrush and everything. Hairbrush with so many barnacles, yet still somehow safer than some hairbrushes I've used. As you can tell, that's why I don't have any hair, because I used a hairbrush too much, and it just went. So, Elizabeth basically does more research on top of research, and finds out the people that died, and all the death, and the foreshadowing, and stuff like that. And gee, why does she keep having these flashbacks to this crew? She seems to have seen this before. I wonder. They're trying to heap a backstory on that they didn't fucking need. They just need to have these guys, these ghosts, looking for goddamn gold, looking for their treasure, and wanting revenge on the townsfolk, that were the descendants of the people that, led to their slaughter. And it says 6 people, that were responsible. It was just 4. Okay. But now you have an entire ship of lepers that basically were tricked and then were burned alive. So Prince Albert William Island. Is Prince Albert in a can? Well, you better put him in a better movie. And yeah, they find out in 1871 the town prospered and stuff like that. It was just shacks. It was just love shacks, baby love shacks. And then it suddenly prospered, and it prospered to buildings that would have made just anybody that, didn't have an architecture background blush. My God, that house looks so good. And then they poke it with a stick, and then it falls down. I don't want to go to school today. So, look for the seagrass. Up and seagrass gets a pass, and wait, we're looking for the seagrass, and then Elizabeth is kind enough to point out to Nick, hey, there it is. Oh, thanks, honey. I never would have seen the giant ship out in the middle of this wide open water. Thank you very much. Whew. They find out, by the way, that everybody is basically dead. There's a body in the bed. And then there's a cold spooner or whatever. Man, when it's an ice cold spooner, you don't want to do ice cold spoon or whatever. Unless you're a necro. And if you are, please don't announce that here. Kind of gross. But he's alive somehow because everybody else had died. Like a guy had gotten a knife through his goddamn skull, and the girls had hurled themselves stupidly through windows, forgetting how doors worked and also how windows were. Oh, wait, right, ghosts hurled them. You don't get to see the ghosts all that much. I mean, yes, in the original, you didn't get to see the spirits all that much, but they were practical makeup effects because at the time, computer graphics weren't really all that prevalent. There were special effects, but often it was just, the practical effects you had to make do with what you had because of the technology. In this, they would have been better off going for practical effects, but nope, they decided to go goddamn cheap. And I hid in the freezer. You can't. It's like you can't. Get killed if you're in the freezer. They don't like the cold, except they use a fog, and the boat was chilly. So how would hiding in the freezer help if they like cold? What does that? What sense of that? All right. Anyway, like Spooner was making sense. I think it's wanted to write him out of the movie for a bit until they figured out, oh shit, we got this guy, bring him back. Why? I don't know. So, there were a tape showing what happened. The camera. Man, I used to have a camera like that when I was younger. Seriously. You don't want to know what I filmed on that camera, by the way? Don't ask. Just don't ask. Just know the tapes will never see the light of day. I hope. I think I destroyed them all. At least I hope I did. So, she tries to take the camera with her, but apparently because Elizabeth is drunk or does not possess the power of being able to walk evenly across a board, she falls down, the camera drowns, and she drowns in slow-mo while having dreams. I'm being held down. By the grace of her last name, she gets rescued, or she rescues herself. And, it turns out, by the way, that the reason that she was being attacked is because some guy lost his, had his lost library book, and he wanted her to find it, saying, please return it. I've been dead for 100 years. The late fees are probably going to kill me. But wait, why is there something in the goddamn wall? Well, so the men can see it all, and also it's a journal. And suddenly, we just get screaming brushes. We just get a screaming brush. The brush just starts screaming, spewing fire and everything in it. Just boop, 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 boop. Maybe it just started spurting because it saw Selma Blair. I know I did. Gross. And she finally puts the fire out after about 14 years. The symbolism is of the, the scales and everything. Do you think the designers got paid scale for that? Okay, I need to freaking continue. I need to rip up these other notes here because I'm not going to fucking redo that. I'm never going to watch this shit again. This movie's dumber than I remember. Now, we get Elizabeth talking to the Malone family, or, talking to Malone about the family journal and everything. Hey, there's graffiti there, and those look like the symbols that I saw and everything. You should get off the island. Just go! Okay. Any reason why? No, just go. We can't afford any other writing. Just go. So, we get more slow-mo. Seriously, I actually think this movie could have been 20 minutes shorter. This movie could have been shorter than the other. They just cut out the slow-mo. It's like a Zack Snyder movie. Army of the Dead would have been about an hour and 40 minutes. They cut out the slow-mo. Army of the Dead also had no right to exist. Moving on. She, gets confronted by a corpse that had its eyes swollen shut. Blood for blood. Or sewn shut, rather. Blood for blood. What was that? Was that Tourist Trap? Tourist Trap had a thing like this? Anyway. Chuck Connors is great in that. I should retro review that movie at some point. Maybe next Halloween. So, she saw a dead body and, basically then they cut to a restaurant and says, here, drink this. This will calm me down. You see a dead body? Here, drink this. Perfect advice. So she's trying to figure out, all this stuff, trying to get Nick to listen, but since he is trying to deal with Lana and Clark, Lex. And also, the woman that played Chloe in Smallville, boy, she's a goddamn I used to think she was hot. You goddamn stupid bitch. You deserve to rot in jail for what you did. Allison something or other. So, basically Elizabeth says this describes my dreams, Nick. All of it. Every dream. And about the Founding Fathers. Tom sees that it goes from rags to riches. They resolved to protect the island and everything at all costs, which meant killing a leper colony. So Spooner just basically vanishes. He vanishes out of the hospital bed that he was in, and somehow ends up back on the pier later. And then the ghosts finally did stuff. They led a foggy chase because they were like, well, shit, we have nothing left. The movie's got a half hour left. Throw the ghosts in. Okay, so like the other one, yeah, sure, except we're going to make it worse because we're not really going to show the ghosts. We're just going to kind of show the stuff because it's PG-13. Also, we don't really give a shit because teens are just going to come here, bounce on top of each other in one form or another and watch the movie, but we'll get their money, so that's what matters. That's pretty much the only audience that would have watched this. I worked at the theater at the time when this came out, and I wouldn't have enjoyed it if I... Actually, no, you know what? I think I just watched it by myself. So, anyway, boom, it just engulfs the town, suddenly. It's like somebody flipped a switch, and then the power goes out. Dan the Dullard somehow gets set on fire, because they decide, hey, when in doubt, set everybody on fire. That works. And then the power goes out. This is, no time to panic. Stop panicking! But Stevie panics, because she can't get a hold of her son, or a hold of the aunt that is watching, because she lives on an ant farm. She's antagonizing somebody. She is, she's not Antonina Okay, I'll stop. Basically, the power goes out, then this aunt suddenly decides to wash dishes and hears something in the garbage disposal, and then something grabs her and poisons her. So I guess these ghosts possess the ability to just poison people. I know they were lepers, but they didn't poison anybody in the other one. Then again, they just hit them with weapons. So I guess in this one, they're like, okay, well, they're lepers. Leprosy sticks around for 100 years, even in ghostly apparitions. Just have that happen. And the fog basically just, gives her a push start. The fog's like, okay, here, we got to advance this plot. Go, go, go. It's like the movie, this is like the movie The Mist, except the fog isn't nearly as bad. So, Stevie Ravine Wayne, man, screwed that up. She went right into the goddamn river in a car down by the lake. Or maybe the ocean. Maybe she has her car by the ocean. No. And she ends up basically getting her way out of there because she tried to drive from the lighthouse right to her house. Didn't really work all that well. Why you would try to drive out of a lighthouse and maybe she didn't wreck the car. A ghost is trying to get her like, no, we need to exchange insurance information. No, I can't get another fine on my ghost insurance. Like a good neighbor, Ghost State Farm is there. And then Selma Blair manages to escape. And then suddenly, Nick and Elizabeth and Andy, because they rescue Andy. Andy somehow managed to get rescued just fine. I don't really understand it. And then they get the Founding Fathers killed for the gold, because we knew that. But suddenly Nick is driving his truck, and then damn randomly spawning boats just somehow hits that. Elizabeth keeps having these weird dreams, these weird things, this weird attachment to the ghost. What the hell's going on? It turns out that Elizabeth had, that she had an ancestor that was on that boat. Looked just like her. Gee, I wonder what the connection is. And then I'd go back for my pets too, is what I wrote down. This guy wasn't going to leave his dogs. I'd go back for the producer, even though he's probably out hunting right now and probably going to bring me something, and I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. And I don't know how Selma Blair got back to town so quickly, but I'm always glad to see Selma Blair on my television. And we get flashbacks to the leper colony thing. Oh no, super slow-mo. Hey, she had a past. She had a past character, as I said. And then the people get killed. And then glass flying through this priest, because they're in the museum now, the small museum that it is. And the glass lamely flies through the priest. It's like they didn't even try with the graphics here. He ends up dying. And you are surrounded by bad visual effects. And bang, bang into the room, bang, bang, ghosts all over you. They pull you out into the fog. and they will not get you because they're not the grog. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Everybody starts to die. The mother character dies. And then suddenly Elizabeth sees the ghost. This one guy gets set on fire. And she goes up to one ghost, and the ghost kisses her. And oh, she's suddenly ghostly. That's not how that fucking works. How is that how that works? Did they just give up? It gave up. Eat shit, the fog. Rupert Wainwright. I really hope that you go on to direct better things. Actually, you know what? Given the fact that he did Stigmata in this, I hope he sticks to stuff other than film. This movie was ass. Absolute goddamn ass. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.